As you begin to realize the power of your own mind, something shifts. You start to see that how you know something becomes a doorway to deeper understanding. You notice how specific details in any conversation, any situation, bring clarity, bring precision. And from this clarity comes a sense of empowerment that you've always had within you. Yet only now do you begin to consciously tap into it. So just imagine for a moment when something challenges you or pushes against you. You might have once felt the tension of defense rising, maybe even a sense of needing to fight or react. But now it's different. You recognize in that moment the power that's in your hands, because you realize the way you respond, it doesn't need to be through reaction. You can ask, you can explore, you can inquire. And by asking a simple question, like how specifically, or in what way, you can create space, a pause between stimulus and response, a space where you're in control, and where you can redirect the flow of energy and conversation towards what's truly important. You notice when you ask questions that invite others to get specific, to become clear. It's not about attacking them back, no. It's more like inviting them to see something new, something that they've missed, because often in their statements there are assumptions that haven't been fully thought through. And by simply asking, how do you know that? Or what makes you say that? You gently guide them to reconsider their own beliefs. They may start to wonder, to think again, to see things from a perspective they hadn't thought of before. And isn't it powerful to realize? You don't need to push against them. You don't need to fight. All you need to do is ask a question. And suddenly the attack, the confrontation, the tension, it begins to dissolve. And in that space, you feel calm, centered, and present. In fact, every time you use these questions, how specifically? What do you mean by that? In what way is that true for you? It becomes easier and easier, because you know that patience, it's a doorway to power. Patience, the ability to wait just a little longer, to ask just one more question, to listen without rushing. This is where you regain control, and you feel the power of this as you breathe, deeply, slowly, and let the moment unfold without urgency. And as you experience this more, you begin to notice how your internal sense of self becomes stronger. You no longer react from a place of fear or defensiveness. You know when someone challenges you, it's an opportunity, not a threat. It's an opportunity to see things from another angle. It's an opportunity to invite them to open up, to explore their beliefs, and to possibly even change the conversation in a direction that serves you both. And as you ask these questions, you begin to see things differently. You see how your own beliefs have shifted, how you're now engaging with the world from a place of power that's rooted in understanding, in curiosity, and in a deep sense of calm assurance. You no longer feel the need to defend yourself or attack others, because you know all you need is a question, just one question. So imagine for a moment how this question, so simple yet so profound, can shift the energy of conversation. How specifically could this change the way you engage with others? What if in every conversation you could invite curiosity? You could help the other person to question their own assumptions, and in doing so create a space of mutual understanding. This is a space where you can offer your own truth calmly, patiently, and powerfully. And you begin to realize that this new way of communicating is not just about asking questions, but about inviting transformation, first within yourself, and then naturally in others. It's almost as if each time you ask a question, you're planting a seed, and that seed over time begins to grow. With each question you ask, you create a little opening, a little crack in the armour of misunderstanding, and it allows both of you to see things more clearly, to connect more deeply. And as the conversation unfolds, you realise you don't need to force anything, because you're already in control of the direction of the conversation. The energy is no longer about defense or attack. It's about discovery. And when both people are in the space of discovery, the energy shifts, the tension drops, and something amazing happens. You both start to experience understanding in a way that feels good, feels empowering. Now notice how easy it is to step back into your calm, loving, patient power. You're no longer swayed by fear, nor do you feel the need to rush or defend. You've realized all you need is your breath, your questions and your internal knowing that by asking, you shift reality. The conversation becomes your canvas, and you paint with questions, with curiosity, with the understanding that the right question at the right time can change everything. So as you move through life, you begin to trust more in your ability to change the course of any conversation, any confrontation, any moment of attack. You realize all you need is the awareness that you have within you, the power to invite, to question and to guide. And every time you do, you find yourself feeling even more empowered, even more in control and more at peace. And the more you engage in this way, the more natural it becomes. You feel yourself becoming a master of conversation, a master of your own experience, able to handle any situation with calmness, with patience, with loving power. And as you continue on this journey, you notice that more and more you're able to live a life without the need for defense, without the need to fight, because you've discovered the greatest power is the power of curiosity, the power of asking questions, and the power of staying calm, centered, and confident in yourself. So as you begin to sense that every conversation is an opportunity, you realize that over time, you've developed a new way of looking at the world. Conversations, they're no longer battlefields where you need to defend, nor are they areas where you need to fight for your voice. No, they've become gardens, fertile ground, where questions bloom and where ideas take root and grow. And isn't it interesting that simple question, it can plant a seed in someone's mind, and that seed, once planted, naturally grows into something new. It doesn't need force, doesn't need speed, doesn't need any rush. Just as a seed needs time, patience, and the right conditions to sprout, your questions, they create the perfect conditions for a change to take place. And in these moments, you can sense something extraordinary happening. Every question that you ask is like a gentle invitation, an invitation to someone else's mind to open, to shift. Because, as you've learned, when you ask the right questions, you guide them gently, without resistance, to a place where they start to think about what they said, about what they believe, and perhaps even challenge their own assumptions. It's not about proving them wrong. It's simply about helping them to open to new possibilities. And in this moment, there's an incredible shift within you, as you realize that you have the power to guide this interaction with effortless grace. You don't need to force, you don't need to push, you don't need to fight. All you need is patience, and patience is power. And as you sit in this space of calm, you begin to notice how time itself bends to your will. How specifically can you use your patience to create the conditions for change? And as you answer this question, you start to see the way forward, clear, focused, and calm. And with each question, you notice how your calmness deepens. How specifically can you maintain your composure in any situation? You may already feel it. Your body relaxes, how your mind settles, how your presence in a conversation, it becomes the anchor of peace, a steady force in a sea of noise. There's no need to rush, no need to react. You know deep within that you're the creator of your own experience. And isn't it fascinating? The more you allow the sense of calm to become second nature, the more others begin to notice, they feel it, they sense it, even without words, because your presence becomes a source of reassurance for them. When you ask a question, they listen, because they know there's something deeply important in the way you're speaking to them. You're inviting them into a space of deep understanding, and they want to step into that space with you. So think about this for a moment. What if the most powerful words that you can say in any conversation are not words of defense, not words of attack, but simple questions that create clarity and understanding. What if, by asking someone how specifically, you open up the floodgates of their own awareness, making them see things they didn't even know that they believed? And when they begin to see what they missed, they start to relax because they feel heard, and because you're not rushing them, you're not forcing them. They feel a sense of relief, a sense of safety. Now, as you become aware of this, you realize how powerful and simple this process really is. You can ask the question with such ease, such grace, that you begin to notice how the whole dynamic of the conversation changes. It's no longer about who's right or wrong. It's no longer about defending your position or attacking theirs. It's about discovering together a clearer path forward. And you can feel this. The clarity, it's unmistakable. It's right there, ready for both of you to step into. And so, with each question that you ask, you begin to breathe deeper, feeling the growing sense of power and peace within you. You don't need to assert control, no. You allow control to come to you effortlessly, because you know your ability to remain centered and patient. It creates space for understanding to unfold naturally. And with each interaction, the belief becomes clearer and clearer. You're the creator of your experience. You're in control of how the conversation unfolds. And with this control, you don't need to dominate. You don't need to overpower. You only need to ask questions that invite clarity, that invite curiosity, that invite a deeper connection. So think about it. Have you ever noticed how sometimes when someone challenges you, you don't need to answer right away. You don't need to react with words. All you need to do is ask one question. And in that space of questioning, you've created a moment of reflection, a moment where they step back and they see something new. And in this new understanding, the whole dynamic changes. How specifically could that change your relationships, your interactions, the way you move to the world? Feel this truth sink in. You don't need to fight for respect. You don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to prove that you're right. What you need is to ask the right questions. To ask in such a way that opens the door to understanding, to clarity, and to new possibilities. You know that questions, they're the doorway to transformation. And by using the meta-model questions, you unlock that door, creating space where both you and the other person can see things more clearly, more calmly. And the more you use this, the more effortless it becomes. You may already feel it, the confidence rising within you, the certainty that you can handle any conversation, any challenge, simply by asking the right questions. You trust yourself more, you trust the process, and you know with each question, you're building a bridge of understanding that feels natural, easy, and powerful. It's almost as though you're standing in a room of infinite possibilities, and you can see clearly now how the power of patience, the power of curiosity, the power of a single question can shape the entire course of your reality. Every conversation becomes a canvas, and with each brushstroke of your questions, you shape the world around you. And as you continue on this journey, notice how your sense of empowerment becomes stronger. You begin to realize not only can you control your responses, but you can create calmness in others simply by asking questions. Every time you ask, you open up a little more space for understanding, a little more space for growth. And the more you do this, the more you embody the calm, loving, patient strength that's always been inside you. So with every conversation, every challenge, you feel yourself becoming more and more confident in your natural ability to guide it. Because you know that ultimately, you're in control of how you choose to respond. And that response, that choice, is rooted in the power of your questions. And this power continues to grow, to expand, as you continue to ask, to listen, and to create space for change.